Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hi, my name is Oona Metz, and I am a therapist, a writer, and a speaker in Boston, Massachusetts. I have a private practice where I specialize in helping women navigate the emotional journey of divorce. And I'm really glad to be here today.
Okay, Oona. So while we are known for helping people through divorce, we help people through a lot of fresh starts over here. And one of the biggest, I guess, forced fresh starts in a lot of people's life is a breakup. So as somebody that works with people in all phases of breakup world, what would you say, like, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I don't know how to move on after a breakup, what would you recommend?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Breakups are so hard because I think they involve change, and we oftentimes don't like change. They involve loss, and they involve grief. And so I would say the first thing I would say to people is that you have to treat yourself really gently during this time of a breakup. You know, I think we all know, like, if you break your arm, you go to the doctor, you get a cast, you don't use your arm, you're very gentle with your arm after you break your arm. And yet somehow in our society, we still think if you have a broken heart, well, just get right back there and go to work the next day and do all your regular activities. But you need to take care of your heart if your heart is broken.
I love that. I love that.
So, and I mean, I think, you know, paying attention to your emotions is super important, but sometimes in a breakup, you'll also notice that you're going to have that your body might be hurting too. I mean, there is research that shows that your heart actually does hurt during heartbreak.
Yeah.
But you might notice all other changes as well. It might be hard to sleep. It might be hard to eat, or you might want to eat too much. You know, you may have more aches and pains. And so I think also just paying attention to your body during that time is important too.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So what do we do to be gentle with ourselves during this time? I love that recommendation. It's like, we can't just go back to life the same way that it was. So what's like one thing we can do to be nice to ourselves?
Well, one thing I would say is to give yourself some time to just acknowledge that it's going to take time to get over the heartbreak. And then another really important thing is to be surrounding yourself with people who do love you. Because sometimes I think when you go through a breakup, you can begin to question your own self-worth. Like, oh, maybe I'm not lovable. Maybe that's why this breakup happened. But if you look around, I can guarantee that there's probably a lot of people in your life who really do love you, who do value you. And so spend time with those people so that you get from them the love that you are seeking. So that helps.
I love that.
That would really help to kind of build back up your self-esteem after a breakup.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my questions to you is like, what do you say to the people that don't get it, right? That are like, just go back out there, right? Go date, go to the bar. I mean, I definitely had people say stuff like that to me after my divorce. And I was like, no. So what would be like, I mean, do you just not respond to those people? Do you just say, no, that's not for me? Like, what would you say?
I think you really want to, in that case, you really want to assess the relationship. And if this is somebody that's important to you, that you have a good relationship with, but they're giving you advice that doesn't work, I would be honest with them and say, that doesn't work for me. You know, I don't feel ready to go date or go to the bar. I don't want to do that. And if it's just like some, you know, kind of whatever, a coworker that you don't really see much, or, you know, some other mom at the soccer game or something like that, somebody you don't care about, smile and nod and go on about your day. You know, you don't give them the time, you know, because people love to give advice. Sometimes the advice is useful, but oftentimes it's not. And oftentimes it really comes from their own experience rather than listening to what your experience is. So I would just make sure you take other people's advice with a grain of salt.
I like that. So one more question, and this is, I guess, very general, and this is not therapeutic advice, but if you are like going through a heartache, breakup, at what point do you kind of say, I think I might need to seek other support, right? Like maybe from a therapist or somebody else.
Yeah. I think at any point, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a therapist, so I
Yeah.
kind of believe that there are two kinds of people in this world, those who are in therapy and those who should be.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I would say any time that you feel like your feelings are kind of overwhelming to you, or you are you get stuck in the same old pattern over and over again, that would be a great time to seek support from a therapist.
Is there a time frame people like? I mean, heartache obviously doesn't. So I'm saying this with a tongue in cheek, but like, some people get over a heartbreak very quickly and some people take much longer. Is there something to be said about that? Or should we just kind of throw it all out the window and go, it is, people are just different.
Right. I mean, I think I remember kind of being in my 20s and there was a saying out there that, it took half the time that you were in the relationship to recover. I don't think that we have done any real research about timing. I think it's all pretty unique to the relationship, to the amount of time in the relationship, but also the amount of investment. I mean, a year-long relationship for one person might look really different than a year-long relationship for another person. So I don't think there's any real way that we can, but we do know that it takes time. That's the only thing I can say for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had a lot of girlfriends who post-divorce will date somebody, and that post-divorce relationship, when that ends, their heart is broken more than their marriage often.
Yeah. Well, there's something I want to say about that, which is that I think, we're talking about what to do after a breakup or after a divorce to take care of yourself. And I think it's really important to be aware that your heart is really tender. And if you touch your arm and you don't have a bruise on it and you touch your arm lightly, it doesn't hurt, right? If you have a big bruise on your arm and you touch it, ow, it hurts, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with your heart. After you go through a breakup or a divorce, your heart is really tender.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with dating. Some people like to date because it offers some distraction, or it's a good way to fill the time, or they want to feel attractive again or lovable again. And all those things are great and appropriate at the right time.
Yeah.
It's that if you're just recently out of a breakup, you really have to be careful because, like you just said, the breakup after a divorce or the breakup after a long relationship can be really painful.
Yeah.
Bring up kind of all kinds of old losses. I mean, any new loss we go through brings up all the old losses.
So much good advice. I love it. I love it. So Oona, if somebody's listening to this and they would like to work with you, where do you work? What exactly do you do? How can people get in touch with you?
Great. Well, I have two offices right outside of Boston. One is in Brookline, Massachusetts, and one is in Arlington, Massachusetts. And the best way to reach me is to go to my website. It's oonametz.com. That's OONAMETZ.com. And you can find all kinds of resources there, not only how to contact me, but I have a whole resource page about resources for women going through divorce, articles that I've written and other people have written. So it's really a great place to connect.
Amazing. And as always, you can find Oona at Fresh Starts Registry in the Expert Guide. Oona, we so appreciate you. And I think we could probably talk about this for many, many hours. So we'll have to have you come back on just to do a heartbreak episode. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I love being a Fresh Starts expert.
Thank you. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.